We're gonna get started with our December Economic Development Authority agenda. We're glad you're able to join us in this busy holiday season. So we're not gonna keep you long so you can get back to what you need to do and get your holiday started. We'll start with our call to order. A roll call.
Mr. Bailey?
Present.
Mr. Hunter?
Present.
Mr. Kelly?
Here.
Ms. Lucas-Burke?
Present.
Mr. Thomason?
Present.
Mr. Thompson?
Present.
You have a quorum.
Okay, now we'll take a look at our minutes for our November 18th meeting. And our commissioners have had an opportunity to review them already. So, motion, is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and we need a roll call. Votes.
Mr. Bailey?
Present.
Mr.
Yes, sorry.
Hunter?
Sorry, it's way too early in the morning.
You're not present. Yes.
Thank you.
It's been a long month.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Lucas-Burke?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
Mr. Thompson?
Yes.
Minutes are approved.
Thank you. All right, now we'll take a look at our financials for our November 2014, and we'll hear that report from Ms. Lane.
All right, there are several changes reflected in your statements this month. On your statement of net position, you will see a new account called cash held in escrow, and that is for the three $25,000 payments made for the extensions for the Desk Inc. property. You'll also see in your liabilities there, in addition to your grants payable, there's grant payable for CDI Marine, but there's also $88,500 for quarters at Parkview for the lights, and there is $63,503 possibly due to the city in conjunction to the Desk Inc. site.
So outside of these, after the financials are approved, we'll be asking you to simply amend the budget to transfer those funds from one line to the other.
All right, and the deposits, others, you did receive in relation to the 3101 Dartmouth Street property. That other additional amount was received from the city in December. So your December statements, that will no longer be in your deposits other. All right, and the statement of revenues, expenses, and change, which is the second statement, you will notice that the audit happened, so they wanted some changes reflected in the property held for resale, and they wanted every single item on your settlements to be reflected within your financials. So there's an increase in the property and land sales, as well as your other expenses have increased according to the transfer and recording fees that were associated with the sale of the Midtown Marketplace. And the miscellaneous revenue is also from the escrow monies from the Midtown Marketplace. So those are all of your changes to your statements.
Okay.
Does anybody have any questions?
Accept that report. Now we need to take a look at the motion to amend, or do we vote on these financials first and then we'll amend? Okay, with that being said, is there a motion to approve the?
So moved.
The second.
Second.
Have a motion and second. All those in favor? Aye.
On the matter of just cleaning up, doing the housekeeping for the budget to reflect these two items, Andrea, is it supposed to be coming out of the Economic and Business Development Fund? Is that how the transfer works, just from there to the?
Yeah, it moves from the transfer is basically coming out of fund balance into the into the payable accounts.
So if the authority supports the motion, and agrees, a motion to amend the FY budget to transfer funds from the fund balance to the appropriate line items for an incentive grant for the quarters at Parkview approved by the authority at its July 15th meeting, and for amendment 2 to the purchase agreement of the with Breeden approved by the authority at its August 19th meeting.
You've heard the motion, is there a second?
We'll need a
First.
first.
First. So this is a
So
motion.
moved. Second.
All right. Motion and a second, all those in favor, let it be known by aye. Any opposed? Approve that motion. Okay, the financials are out, and now we'll move to our new business section of our agenda. And first up is our Royal Farms ribbon cutting that's set for this Friday, December 19th. And we'll get some more details on that from Ms. Cowley.
Yes, you all should have all received an electronic invitation that is being put on and sponsored by Rural Farms and their PR folks. They're very excited. This building has a lot of green initiatives in it, and they are excited to have a group there, and they'll be offering tours to include showing you all the environmentally friendly aspects of the building design and the operation. And you all did, as a reminder, sell them the property. That was a piece you all held on Victory Boulevard.
Great, the city's looking good. Next we'll move to, I wanted to let you know about some appointments that we have, and these appointments come as a result of Rob Beeman, who vacated that position a couple months ago. And that appointment will occur when the new person, who is Mr. Anthony Hines, he will be completing Mr. Beeman's term after he turns in his economic statement paperwork to clerk's office. So he will be able to join us immediately, and his term will be through 2015. Our next appointment will be Ms. Miriam Jiggets. She will be replacing Brad Hunter, who will be leaving us. His term ends this December 2015. We appreciate the service that Brad has offered in the capacity of commissioner and treasurer and vice chair, and we thank you for the years of service. So good luck in your new ventures.
So she's gonna be appointed to a 4-year?
Yes, Ms. Miriam Jiggets will join us in January.
It's a 3-year term.
It's a 3-year term. January 15th through December 31st, 2018. And those new appointments will be taking their oath of office immediately, and they will be recognized at the next city council meeting on January 13th. So if any new appointments that you want to see, they will be there at that time. Okay.
Does that meet the requirement for us to have a full board now? Is it?
Yes, we will be full.
Okay.
We will have our 7 full.
Huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Roger.
Yes. Okay, next order of business is our old business, and we will move to our Victory Village update, and we will hear from our secretary, our development, Mr. Rigby.
Good morning, everybody. Just a quick update on Victory Village. Mallory and myself, along with our planning folks, met with the representatives of the development team from Victory Village last Friday, and asked them, or covered a lot of ground with them relative to what we think it's going to take for them to submit to us a plan that we can revisit. As everybody knows, I think that we've all been struggling through to find a project that's worthy of that location, and one that everybody can be proud of. And what we've asked them to do is to develop a very specific plan of attack relative to what they believe to be, and we believe to be, reflective of today's market conditions, keeping in mind that the overall mantra is that it has to be a project that moves this area forward. To that end, we're going to have a work session, I believe, January the 9th. And as well, Bob Baldwin, our planning director, has done as a second courtesy review of what it is that they submitted, that quite honestly, we still found some deficiencies in the way that we would like to see that information put together. So along with my assistants, Bob and I will be getting that reply back to the group so that we can use it as kind of the template for this next meeting. We do have some deadlines coming up, and so we're going to need to be moving with some due speed. I think that they have a willingness to do what it takes to get together with us, and so we're doing that right now. But as of today, that's kind of what we've got going on. Can I take any questions or thoughts on that? Anybody?
You said you had some deadlines coming up, what were those specific?
I believe it's in January. And, the submission of funds, or for the funds, is that August?
For the construction, they need to be under construction by August of 2015.
August 2015. I think they've got a deadline for submission of a little bit of information leading to that process in just the next 30 days or so.
Okay, thank you for those updates. Next is our local incentive program, and that would be Ms. Wilson. Do we have someone else on the local incentives?
Yes, Ms. Wilson is attending another meeting on behalf of the department this morning. You all should have all received in your packets 2 items for consideration today. One is a request which is allowed by the program from Mr. Whedon for an extension on his facade improvement grant for 706 High Street. This is the vacant building to the left or to the west of Gosport Tavern. He has run into a snag with his contractor. His contractor is juggling a couple of things, and rather than piecemeal him into his schedule, he and his contractor have agreed it would make more sense for his contractor to finish a job he's on now, and then come and give him 100% of his time and devote his time to that job there at 706 High Street. In addition, he's doing, Robert Whedon may be doing additional work on that building that could perhaps include something on the rooftop that would require some reinforcement, and it would only make sense if he's going to do that at the same time as contractors out there doing the other work. That reinforcement or what have you is not part of this program. It's just you don't want the contractor right there 2 different times and doing structural work prior to doing facade work. So the program does allow for an extension. He is requesting it. He is in good order as far as requesting it prior to the expiration of his grant agreement. So staff recommends approval and hope that you will see so as well.
I move to approve that, and I think that speaks to the heart of what we're trying to do. He's actually spending more money and looking to do a lot more because of the incentive that was available to him. So
Absolutely.
that's really a big win on that.
Second.
All right. Mr. Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Hunter?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Lucas Burke?
Yes.
Mr. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Thompson?
Yes.
Motion approved, extension is granted. The second application that you received, the second request, was for a interior build-out grant for 814 High Street. You may recall this applicant and property was before you either last month or the month prior, and they did put in for an interior build-out. They did not exhaust the full amount that would be available under that program. They put in a request that was a little more conservative, and they are coming back to request some additional funds to continue to do this interior build-out improvements. And again, Ms. Wilson and staff have gone through the packet thoroughly and recommend approval on this as well.
Okay, we've heard that update. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved to be approved.
Move and second. Okay.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Hunter?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Lucas Burke?
Yes.
Mr. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Thompson?
Yes.
Motion carries and that grant is authorized. Yes, if you would.
One other item relative to the local incentives program. While we were going through it internally, we discovered a transposition of a number that required us to go back and amend. It was an accounting error on the program. It is not an overpayment to the person that was receiving the award, nor did it impact in any negative way the overall funding allowances that we have under the local incentive program. It did, however, push our, beyond the limits of what we had set aside for what was the facade improvement grant. I think as I've heard that there's been some discussion in the past about while these are good programs with their own specific criteria, it might be a good idea and advisable to have the flexibility to have the maximum amount, the $300,000 that's annually appropriated to these funds, with a little bit of flexibility in case we run out of money in the facade improvement grant, for example, and have a more underutilized program that we can switch some funding from. I would suggest to you that we would now look at these programs as the ability to pull from the $300,000 allocation, keep the criteria for each of the specific programs, but if we were to run into a situation where, for example, this year, we do have 2 applicants that have come to us for facade improvement monies, that because we have exhausted the money that had been earmarked for that particular segment of our local incentive programs, we've kind of put on hold until the new fiscal year. I think maybe it makes more sense to be able to say, go ahead and get going. We still have funding available under the local incentive programs, and as long as we don't bump into an exhaustion at that total amount, then we should be okay. All of those would, of course, be subject to those specific criteria and subject to the approval of this body as well. And so we've corrected that error, and it would be my recommendation that we maybe take a look at doing it that way.
Commissioners, any comments?
How soon can we vote on that? Can we do it now? I hate to lose momentum. We've already got 2 people waiting. We've already exhausted the budget for the facade improvement program. And out of all of them, that's probably the most successful and the most utilized. And if we can make a correction now, it might be able to put some more things on our table for January.
You can treat it as an item of new business and vote on it if you wish.
So
just
amend budget to
What
pull the funds.
sort of parameters are you talking about being able to transfer, for instance, the entire balance if you didn't have that kind of demand, or is there a limitation you're proposing?
I think it would be on a case-by-case basis based on the total aggregate amount of budgeted of $300,000. Each of these, either the facade improvement grant, the interior build-out, the safety and security grant, the SSG, and the windows of opportunity would all still be required if that is the particular improvement being made to meet all those criteria that we've established. But we would just have the ability to pull from the entire fund under the parameters of that individual program.
Maybe as part of next year's budget, you can just budget one amount.
Right.
The
Yes.
3 grants.
But I think Mr. Kelly's
With the same
recommendation is.
criteria.
That would make it much
Individual
more.
criteria.
It's either that or we would have to consider closing dates. For example, if we were to use the money from, say, one of the programs to fund, say, the facade program, we would need to have some mechanism in place that would allow us to maybe close down or have a cutoff date, that people could be organized. For example, once we exhausted funds from an ultimate fund, all of a sudden you receive an application for that particular purpose and the funds aren't available. As long as there's something in place to where the public can identify, hey, you have 30 days in order to make an application and you missed the deadline, so we were able to utilize those funds. But I think your suggestion is a lot simpler.
And
A general fund,
Right.
just an
Do you-
overall general fund.
Could the, Mr. Andrea, could the budget be amended just to consolidate those into one item?
Well, currently, there's only one budget line for all the programs
Okay.
within the budget, and they're just broken out this way, so you all can see which programs. So, financial wise, everything is already in one line.
So that's just consensus.
So it's just to authorize the,
And we would continue to show everybody exactly a line itemization of exactly where all funding goes under the local incentive program, just like we're doing now.
Yes.
okay, so it'd be really more in the nature just to authorize that, authorize you to exceed the proposed amount as opposed to the budgeted amount, because it's not
Correct.
really budgeted.
I would have to say that we are seeing that the facade improvement program is is a well sought after program. And I think that speaks to Patrick and Aaron, the staff getting out there and getting after it.
Toy literally went door to door
Yes.
promoting the program.
Can I make maybe a stupid comment? 2 suggestions. If we're gonna look at continuing this grant, which is, Aaron started this and it's great, going great momentum. Non-profits, we need to review that. The second thing is a timeline. I'll give you a perfect example, and I'm not picking on Dinwiddie, but we have a hotel out here that we've given money to, or a grant, and nothing has happened. Now, Breeden is a different exception, but I think maybe we need to hold these business owners a little bit more and accountable. We're gonna give you this money, we're gonna give you 6 months, within 4 months, they need to be going to Toy or someone here and saying, yes, we have a problem, we have a contractor, we're doing a roof, we're adjusting this, we need a little bit more of an extension. Because right now, we're sitting with money that's allocated to the hotel, that we have 2 people in line, they could use it right now. And the thing that, to me, is the nonprofits, is we need to stop allocating money to nonprofits, churches, charities. I'm not against churches, I'm not against charities, but they really bring $0 tax-wise to the city.
Well, it was my understanding that we were going to review the qualifications for some of the grants
Correct.
at a later date because of the things that were brought up. And that would be a separate item. So right now, this is really, although it hasn't been proposed as a motion, we're really just saying, we're gonna have one bucket that any of the grants can pull from, as opposed to restricting the amount of money that any member.
But if we're gonna have that one bucket, because what we're doing right now, we're taking $3, making one bucket. Why don't we go ahead and amend everything at the same time?
Well, I think we need to look at that like a subcommittee, a separate meeting. I don't know if we can do that privately
Probably
or
want to have a
publicly.
discussion as to what sort of limitations, because
Okay.
this is a pretty simple
No, I agree.
amendment.
Right.
But the other thing's a little more complex, because there are a lot of, there are issues you have to consider in terms of how you want, whether there's an appetite to totally limit nonprofits or limit what they receive to just exterior, because it does contribute to the appearance of the downtown and to tourism, but not to allow it for interior renovations. Those sort of considerations, you probably want to have more discussion on, maybe at a retreat or at a later date.
And I'm not sure if I remember correctly, but I thought we had decided in the first quarter of 2015, we were going to get this resolved. The
We're gonna
amendments to
evaluate it, and I think the thought
Correct.
was put it in
Yeah.
place for the
Yeah.
new fiscal year,
So-
July 1, is that?
Yeah, I don't want to lose traction on that, because I think he had some good points that we had to, just hadn't got all the details of, as it was being implemented, finding out, the unintended consequences and making the adjustments moving forward, so.
I'd like to make a motion to consolidate our allocated buckets together for funding.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Bailey,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hunter,
Yes.
Mr. Kelly,
Yes.
Ms. Lucas Burke,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
Motion carries, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have that allocated to the one bucket now, and we'll make some plans for our new year to go in and look at how we operate our policies and backdoor operations of the nonprofits versus the businesses, and how we want to be moving forward to make it effective, because it's definitely used and definitely needed, and we want to keep this going. All right, we finished our old and new business, and we don't have any agenda items for a closed meeting, but if there are any other comments, City Manager, Mr. Rowe? Okay.
Well, yeah, thank you for your service during 2014. You did a lot. That shows
Good job,
that you
Commissioners.
had-
Good job.
Everything was free. I mean, that was really awesome.
Thank you. Okay, with that being said, then I would like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and enjoy your holiday season. and we'll see you again in the new year. Is there a motion for adjournment? We are adjourned.
It's your.
That was excellent.